Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, it is a great pleasure now to welcome out these beautiful cattle, our amazing Australian stock for the Australians' own sport. It is, of course, the sport of camp drafting. It's night number 2 at the World Championship Camp Draft here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, and it's a great pleasure to introduce the man on the field, the voice of camp drafting. It is, of course, Mr. Jimmy Callahan.
Well, good evening, Tam and Lindsay, and it's just great to be back here in the Spotless Stadium for round 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft.
We had an amazing night last night. We've seen in the last few years familiar names coming up year and year again, taking out the World Championship Camp Draft, but we saw some new players out there last night doing really well, with Bruce Coulthard coming in first and Wyatt Young taking out second. First timers here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
That's right, Lindsay, and they certainly got rid of the nerves very quickly, and they'll be feeling pretty good going into round 2 and for the remaining rounds. So a great way to kick off the World Championship Camp Draft here at the 2019 Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Jim, in terms of getting here to compete, these are some of the best drafters on the circuit at the moment.
That's definitely right, Lindsay. The best of the camp draft competitors, the very best of the horses. So we're looking at the cream of the crop. But also when we say the cream of the crop, over the last 2.5 years, it's very difficult to find cattle for camp drafting. There's been a lot of camp drafts being cancelled due to the drought. But once again, many thanks to Elliston Pastoral Company, the Packer family, to Rob Teague, Scott Mitchell in the team up at Elliston. And we see Murray Wilkinson here on his grey stallion and the wonderful working dogs, the same colour as these magnificent line of the Hereford Angus cross heifers. So very, very grateful, and the great relationship from the RAS to the Elliston Pastoral Company.
Jimmy, of course, this event here has been running for many, many years, the World Championship Camp Draft, and it wouldn't run without sponsors. And I know you are maybe one of their biggest clients, Tyrrell's Wines.
Well, you're pretty right, Tim. It's good for your health, and you drink it in moderation. And but just a nice little Tyrrell's each evening. And I know Bruce Coulthard and a few of the competitors, they had a little bit of celebration to do last night, and they certainly had a Tyrrell's last night to. Well, yes, settle the nerves, but they certainly done that out here in the arena. But once again, many thanks to Tyrrell's Wines.
Now, Jim, for those of you who have never seen camp drafting before, how does this sport work? What are we going to see here this evening?
Well, the cattle are about to go into the yard where the Tyrrell Signs wine is, and that's what we call the cattle camp. And these wonderful dogs of Murray Wilkinson are about to put them in there. The doors are open, the gates are open, so they make their way in there, and there's a score in there out of a possible score of 26 points. It's a left-hand course tonight, so the first peg is taken on the left, so they get 2 points for that peg and 1 for the second peg, which will be taken on the right. And then the two trees close together is what we refer to as the gate over there in front of the members' stand, and they get another point for course for if they put the beast through the what we call the gate. So you get 2 for the first, 1 for the second, 1 for the gate is a total of 4 for course. And the horse work, that is the control of the run, the speed of the run, and that's out of a possible score of 70 points. So you get 26 and 70 and 4, that's out of a possible score of 100 points.
And last night, our winning round was an 89, just 11 points off that perfect score. Of course, we run 6 nights of competition, and so it's a long run through to the finish line, but certainly you want to be trying to get a score of out of that 100 each night on the board to be up there at the end?
Well, if we go back to last year, Tim, and you'd remember too, we had Champagne Campdrafting, and let's hope that we can do it again into 2019. It was Champagne Campdrafting night after night, and I think one night last year we had 14 out of the 16 contestants.
I think your memory's spot on there, Jimmy. I wouldn't doubt it for a moment, a young man like yourself. Now, these competitors, as you've said, they've come from near and far, but a man of your knowledge, who do you back as the winner that the girls and boys need to get behind tonight?
Well, like we spoke earlier, Tim, any one of these 15 competitors...
Oh, Jimmy, don't sit on the fence on me.
Okay. All right, well, let's have... What sort of odds are we going to give before I pick out my trifecta?
Well, I'll put some good odds. You work out who's going to win, and I'll work out a prize if you get it right.
Okay, well, what say I get back to you in a night or two?
Oh, that'll be right. I'll give you the first 3 rounds at the members tonight on me, if you can pick the first 3. For you and your friends.
You're just breaking up a little bit at the moment, Tim.
That's actually probably a good thing, Tim, that just occurred.
Yeah, it did actually. Very lucky. I was feeling generous because I knew Jimmy wasn't going to give us anything. Last night, of course, it was Bruce Coulthart with an 89 points. He was the man to beat. We had a equal second with Andrew Chapman and Digby on an 88, and he paired up with Wyatt Young from Tamworth on an 88. They're the 3 coming in, sitting at the top of the tree. And
so it looks like we're very close to getting underway with round 2 of the Tyrrell's World Championship Camp Draft on this beautiful evening, and we've already seen and heard of history being made at Royal Randwick with that wonderful mare Winks, and hasn't she done so much for the racing industry? Well, we're about to see some great Australian stock horse put a great round around here, and let's hope there's plenty of them here right in the Spotless Stadium here in round number 2.
Well, from Jay Shanuk with an 83 in round 1, makes his way into the camp now, Uruna Cooper Acres. Jay is from Bulgaria, and he's been riding most of his life. He's been competing and a range of different equestrian disciplines, from English and European to Western to Australian sports like polo cross, and most importantly of all, camp drafting. And Jay has been a finalist in all major camp drafts at Paradise Lagoons, Landmark Classic, Maiden Series and Australian Stock Horse National Championship, and booked many wins and placings in this competition. The first competitor out, he had an 83 on night 1. What can he do on night 2? It is Jay Shanuk riding Uruna Cooper's Acres, the first of our competitors to enter the camp.
Okay, thank you, Tim, and here we go, the man of the moment, Jay Shanuk with Urana Copper Acres. He's about to make his selection. One of these Angus Hereford cross heifers, the Black Baldies. And Jay just says, will I take that one or will I stick to my very first pick? The eagle eye says, will I or will I take the other one I like second best? So they just settle down. Been very, very well handled there by the stockman at Elliston, and probably most of all the camp draft cattle with Murray Wilkinson and those wonderful working dogs. So Jay Shanuk, competitor number 1, he calls for the gate. He steps out onto the arena and around the first peg, and he's got a nice racing one as well. Now around the first peg, gets 2 points for the first peg. Now they do the crossover, the changeover, and Urana Copper Acres and Jay Shanuk around the second peg, and just sits up and just a little bit of a slip, and the beast sits up and goes back around the other way, and there goes the stock whips a little bit out of bounds. So unfortunately a cutout score only for Jay Shanuk.
Well, coming off from last night with a cutout score only is Adam Sadler. He'll be next in camp, this time on Reldus Raven Acres. This time last year, he was second in the open runner-up competition here on Tajano Spin. He's been second in the Open Aqua Nationals. In 2018, he was the Canning Downs winner. And this horse that is on here tonight, Reldus Raven Acres, has won a variety of drafts from juvenile, novice and in the ladies. And back in 2001, Adam was actually the ABCRA Open Rider of the Year.
So a score for Jay Shanuk and Urana Copper Acres was 21.5. 21.5 points there for Urana Copper Acres, ridden by Jay Shanuk. So once again, many thanks to Elliston Pastoral Company, the Packer family, Rob Teague and Scott Mitchell and the team. Once again, that great relationship from the RAS and the Elliston Pastoral Company. So Adam Sadler, the property manager from Bunnan in the Upper Hunter, right up the face of the camp, he calls for the gate and it just squeezes down along the fence. So Adam Sadler now just says, well, I'll grab you nice and quick. One of the sisters don't want to go away. So Adam will just wait his perfect time. A beautiful evening here in the Spotless Stadium for round 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft. Calls for the gate now, and the Black Boilie heifer says, oh, more than happy, come out here. And a nice free running B-side just scrapes the leaves off the first peg. Now they come back, they get 2 points for the first peg. They do the changeover, tries to line up the second. He's going to tighten things right up here. And now Raven Acres around the second peg, trying to line things right up now. Around the second peg he comes now. He says, can they line them up? Boys and girls, mums and dads, get ready. Can they do it? Can they do it? They've got a nice free-flowing Black Boilie heifer. Can they do it? Oh, can I think he can? Yes, look at this. Champagne Campdrafting, Adam Sadler.
Oh, what a run. Score on the board, ladies and gentlemen. We'll wait for the score for Adam Sadler, runner-up last year. And now we welcome into the camp Sue Dugen from Coolah in New South Wales. And she is riding Quindella Chief. Sue is a wife, a mother and a farmer. And she returns to the Sydney Royal Easter Show for her second year with her stock horse Chief. Last year they competed in camp drafting and was successful to win equal 5th place. He's by Acres Destiny, known for his unique blue eyes. It is Sue Dugen, Quindella Chief, now down here in the camp.
So a score for now, Adam Sadler and Relda's Raven Acres was 17.5 for cutout, 59 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 80.5 points. 80.5 points for Relda's Raven Acres and Adam Sadler. So now one of our lady competitors, Sue Dugen from Coolah in the Hunter Valley with Quindella Chief. She makes a selection. She says, come on, Chief, step right up. We need to put the points on the board. Round 2. Comes up, does 2, 3, 4, 5. Try now what she is about. She calls for the gate. They make their entry onto the stadium. And the Black Boilie heifer says, gee, this looks good out here. Nice and green. Comes around the first peg and things look pretty good and gets a nice tight one too. And Sue Dugen and Quindella Chief. And the Chief now says, come on, just leave the footwork to me. They come around the second peg. Now things are looking pretty good. Boys and girls, mums and dads, I think you might have to get ready for something. Can they do it? Oh, she starts to take the top off the bottle of the Tyrrell's wine. Oh, and the beast just finds a little bit more. And he's going to waste away there to the spent yard.
Oh, well, Sue will be disappointed with the end of that run there. But next into the camp is a man who is no stranger to the arena here. He's also won 17 ABCRA horse and rider titles, won the 2017 Warwick Gold Cup. It's Troy Palmer of Coolah, a horse trainer and grazier who's been competing in drafts since the tender age of only 8 years old. Tonight he's riding Binya Lorena.
So a score now for Sue Dugen and Quindella Chief was 20.5. 20.5 points there for Quindella Chief, ridden by Sue Dugen. So Troy Palmer doesn't take too long to select his beast and moves right up the face of the camp. And Binya Lorena. Now Lorena says, leave the footwork to me, and they're certainly doing the footwork here in the cattle camp. Goes back and just drops back a panel a bit, blocks it up, now steps out here now to the Spotless Stadium, and this is Troy Palmer and Binya Lorena, and they step out around, and he wheel it around, and he wheels it back around. Now can Lorena get down here and pull him back inside the first peg? And there goes the judges' stock whips, and we welcome our judges, Keith Hanigan from Branga Plains via Walker and Skip McCarthy from Kempsey on the North Coast. our 2 camp draft judges for 2019.
While we wait for the score for Troy Palmer, Tyler Berkeley steps into the camp now, working this mob, trying to work out which beast he wants. He rides a horse by Quinton. He's our youngest camp drafting competitor at just 16 years of age. This is his first year competing in the Open League here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, and he's been campaigning his horse for the last 4 years, and previously Quinton was bred, owned and trained by the Gallagher family. And as of January, Tyler was sitting in number 3 on the national list for most successful rider.
So a score now for Troy Palmer and Binia Larina was 20.5 points. 20.5 points for Binia Larina and Troy Palmer. So now Tyler Berkeley. The nerves have all settled. First time competing here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show in the camp draft. So Tyler says now, which one is a big 88 or a 89 or a 90-point run or 91? He studies the cattle. Tyler's about to make his selection. Just got to move one step one way, one the other. Does it nice and clean and quietly and quickly. So Tyler Berkeley with Quinton. Calls for the gate. Steps out into the spotless stadium. And the heifer says this is a lovely place to be here on this Saturday evening, and nice and gently around the first peg. And look at Quinton, says leave the footwork to me. Tyler Berkeley, he says yes, I'll go now. He says come on Quinton, he says just sit here, sit around there. And Tyler Berkeley and Quinton around the second peg. Now can they do it, boys and girls, mums and dads? They've got a fast one. He's got to get around and change over. He rides around right around the beast's shoulder, camp drafting at his best. Tyler Berkeley, can they do it? I think they can. I think they can. They can. Tyler Berkeley, come on down.
Oh, can you believe it? 16 years old. I know his parents, Ron and Jeanette Berkeley of Ray White Rural in Burrell, will be proud as punch tonight of their boy. And our next in camp, you can see there, is Josh Barnett. He brings 80 points with him from the first night of the competition, riding Barn Lodge Amiga Destiny. Well, this combination of Josh and Amiga Destiny smashed out an 89 in the final of the Charlie Marr Memorial Young Guns at Landmark this year. He's already won 7 ABCRA drafts and is the leading most successful rider in the competition currently.
Okay, a score now for Tyler Berkeley and Quinton was 22 for cutout, 61 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 87 points. 87 points for Quinton, ridden by Tyler Berkeley.
That puts him into the lead. New leader, Tyler Berkeley is the leader.
So Josh Barnett, the all-round competitor. We'll see him a little later on as well in the saddle bronc ride in the rodeo. Right up the face of the camp. Josh Barnett, Barn Lodge Amiga Destiny. Out into the spotless stadium. The World Championship camp draft. Oh, and got a black bally heifer. Says, well, I might just duck back down here to my cousins. And there goes our judges' stock whips. So bad luck there for Josh Barnett. Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That does happen in all sorts of sports. Things just don't go to plan.
Well, they do say it is the luck of the draw. Our ring crew now will have to remove that horse. I do believe that the Kelly boys, Pete Kelly's entered in the saddle bronc after his buck riding skills last night. Horse much more under control. Well, while we wait for they to remove that beast, we welcome Yarrawa Guns N' Roses, Cody Law, into the camp, the Tyrrell's Wine camp. He had an 87.5 points last night to finish in 4th place, and he has a wealth of experience with all aspects of camp. In fact, Joe Burgess, I've jumped ahead of myself, who only started riding when he was 18 years of age, and Joe is riding Avalon Illusion, and he's currently sitting equal 2nd and 3rd in the ABCRA Open Horse and 4th in the most successful rider. And his horse, Avalon Illusion, is a 14 two-hand 9-year-old mare that's been campaigned together for the last 3.5 years.
So a score now for Josh Barnett and Barn Lodge Amiga Destiny, 21.5 points. 21.5 points for Barn Lodge Amiga Destiny and Josh Barnett. So Joe Burgess from Bulladila, the horse dentist, he's about to make his selection. And a few years back, spent time up at Elliston Pastoral Company as well. So probably would have mustered some of these heifers' mothers or grandmothers over the years. So Joe Burgess just about to make his selection on one of these magnificent black baldy heifers. Makes his selection. And up the face of the camp he comes. Avalon Illusion. He does the 2, he does the 3, the 4, the 5. He calls for the gate. He's about to step out into the spotless stadium. Round 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft. And the big black baldy heifer says, yes, I'll play the game, and comes around, says, that's a nice peg. I'll go around this side for you. Now, around they come. They do the changeover. 2 out of 4 for the course. Around the second peg, and a lovely black baldy run. Oh, around the second peg, nice and tight. And look at this heifer. She said, I enjoy this camp drafting, Australia's own horse sport. Oh, come on, boys and girls, mums and dads, can they do it? He heads over towards the members stand. Now, Avalon Illusion, can they do it? Joe Burgess. Oh, and it's just going to cut it in a little short. But give him a round of applause. You get 3 out of 4 for the course. We'll leave that in the hands of our judge.
Well, our judges tonight, of course, Skip McCarthy and Keith Hanigan. And our next competitor, well, is actually a judge himself. He travels the country judging at Warwick, Paradise Lagoons, Chinchilla and Condamine. Comes with a score last night and placing 4th with 87.5. It's Cody Law from the Law family, who have been breeding stock horses since 1953. He's the current president of the National Camp Draft Council Association, and he's a renowned judge and accomplished competitor, and he's on the board of both the ABCRA and the ACA.
So a score now for Joe Burgess and Avalon Illusion. 21 for cutout, 57.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 81.5 points. 81.5 points for Avalon Illusion and Joe Burgess. Cody Law now with Yarrawarr, Guns N' Roses, and he got a fast one. Oh, and look at the chestnut pony, steps right up and just gives the heifer a little bit of a bump right up on the shoulder there and brings it to a halt, and now sets it up around the first peg. Guns N' Roses, Cody Law aboard, and he hits the GPS and gets the right direction around the first peg, does the changeover around the second peg now. Guns N' Roses, now Cody Law, now the black ball says, yes, I'll cooperate directly now to head towards the gate. They do the changeover. Can he get around and around? Boys and girls, can they line it up? Can Cody Law and Guns N' Roses, can they do it? There goes the whistle. So looks like another 3 out of 4 for course. Give him a round of applause, Cody Law.
Well, he had his work cut out. We'll wait for the score for our 4th place getter from last night as we welcome out now our winner, Bruce Coulthard, on debut here last night at the World Championship Camp Draft at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. It is Bruce Coulthard. He rides Fig from Yarras here in New South Wales. An AC BRA finals, first in the Open and first in the all-round Camp Draft horse. And Fig has won 7 Open drafts, a total of 25 over his career.
So we have a score now for Cody Law and Yarrawarr Guns N' Roses was 23 for cutout. 56.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 82.5 points. 82.5 points for Yarrawarr Guns N' Roses and Cody Law.
Into second place, just still behind Tyler Berkeley and Quinton on the 87.
So Bruce Coulthard from a long flat via Warhope. And as Tim said there just a couple of moments ago, he certainly kicked off round 1 in fine style. So Bruce Coulthard with a Fig right up the face of the camp. He goes the 1, the 2, the 3, back, calls for the gate, out onto the dance floor they come, and Bruce Coulthard just lets the heifer run out a little bit, and she says that's a lovely place to be, around the first peg now, and Fig says just come around a little more, I think we should, Bruce. Now they go back to do the changeover, and he got 2 out of 4 for the first peg. Now they do a changeover now around the second peg, and look at Fig. She said, I think it's time to go, Bruce. Let's go a little bit fast and around. They get 3 out of 4 for the course. Can they do it? Can they do it, ladies and gentlemen? Can they do it? Fig lines it up. Can they do it? It's looking very good. Give him a round of applause. Champagne, Camp Drafting, Bruce Coulthard.
Well, as we wait for that score there for Bruce Coulthard and Fig, I'll introduce you to our next man in camp. It's Chappie, Andrew Chapman and Digby. They come to us tonight with the second placing from round 1, 88 points they scored last night. Well, Andrew Chapman's a 45-year-old from Nundle, married to Trudy. He's a cattle stud manager. He's been campaigning on the Campdraft circuit for 10 years. And this horse is the same horse he competed on in the 2018 Sydney Royal Easter Show, an Australian stock horse, quarter horse, a 17-year-old bay gelding.
Score now for Bruce Coulthard and Fig was a score of 21.5 for cutout, 63 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 88.5 points. 88.5 points there for Fig, ridden by Bruce Coulthard.
New leader in the competition. He's 1.5 points clear to be in first place.
So here's Chappie, a great combination, Andrew Chapman and Digby. So the Black Baldy heifer says, I just want to go right back down the back. So Digby says, well, let's get out of here and let's try and get right away. Here they come out into the Spotless Stadium and they line up the first peg, and Digby now says, well, just sit here for a little, let the heifer run on by, and 2 out of 4 for the course in just a moment. There they do the crossover now. They've got it, 2 out of 4, and look at Digby now. Oh, says, come on, let's go, Chappie. Around the second peg they come, and right around on the boosted shoulder. Digby, Andrew Chapman, the well-known combination. Now they let him run on by a little. Oh, boys and girls, I think we're going to see something special. Oh, measure up the distance, and he lines out up.
Oh, Jimmy, I think I'm going to call that commentator curse. Commentator curse. He was home and hosed, but he couldn't quite get there for Andrew Chapman while we wait for the score.
Hey, Tim, I think they're going upstairs to the big screen to see whether the beast went through or not.
Oh, I'm sitting up here. It was the wrong side. I'm sorry, Jimmy. Honey, they're an Aiken. I think Andrew Chapman's aching there for not getting the gate. And Hugh Miles next out in. He's last year's winner on Peel Vale Wishes. He runs Peel Vale Stud at Tamworth, and he is 29 years old. And he's been established. The stud has been established for over 20 years and has been competing here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show for many years. 5th place last night, Hugh Miles.
So score now for Andrew Chapman and Digby was 18 for cutout, 59.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 80.5. 80.5 points for Digby and Andrew Chapman. Hugh Miles now. Here we go with Honey there Aiken. Now around the first peg, and he blocks it up there just before, a little out of bounds, but he comes around the first peg now. And Hugh Miles and sets things right up. The Black Baldy heifer with a nice eye cover as well. Around the first peg, around the second. They've got 2 out of 4 for the course. This is Campdrafting right up on the boosted shoulder. Now there Aiken, they're trying to line it up, and Hugh Miles moves right around on the boosted shoulder here now and pushes it up over the centre line. They get 3 out of 4 for the course. I think we might have to warm those hands up again. Can he beat the clock? Has he got time? Now he just right around, and there goes the time. Give him a round of applause there, boys and girls, mums and dads. That was Hugh Miles with Honey there Aiken.
Well, next in camp is another of our younger competitors, Wyatt Young of Tamworth. Actually grew up at Gloucester, where his parents founded Cedar Vale Stock Horse Stud in 1987. And just like lots of our competitors out here, Wyatt was born into the industry. He's had a great time growing up through Pony Club, now having a wonderful time competing in the Campdraft circuit. He was first at Maules Creek in the Open Draft last year. In the ABCRA National Finals, he was an open rider qualifier. He's had great successes too at the Canning Downs Open Draft only last year. Look forward to seeing what he can do tonight. He brings an 88 points and an equal second placing from the round 1 here.
Hugh Miles with Honey there Aiken scored 23 for cutout, 55.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 81.5 points. 81.5 points with Honey there Aiken, ridden by Hugh Miles. So Wyatt Young steps up and he does the 2, the 3, going for the big points here in the camp out of a possible score of 26 points, and Wyatt Young steps out onto the dance floor in round number 2. He says, I'll just sit back here a little tiny bit around the first peg. Oh, takes the leaves off the first peg. Now they come around now. Wyatt Young and Cedar Vale twist. Well, can he twist the second peg just as tight? Oh, and Wyatt Young and Cedar Vale twist. They make their way around the second peg. They get 3 out of 4 for the course. Can he do it, boys and girls? Can he do it? They're only a metres away. Oh, Cedar Vale twist, and he twists him around and twists him down through the gate. Magnificent Champagne Campdrafting, Wyatt Young.
Adds that to his 88 from last night. He is certainly making Bruce Coulthard work for holding that lead. It's going to be an interesting finish tonight. Number 2, third last competitor now into the yard. And we welcome out into the camp from Hunters Hill here in New South Wales, Rebecca Roberts, riding Duck Rageous, and this is her first year attending the Sydney Royal Easter Show with the Campdraft. She's been in the Junior Rodeo Series, and she's currently the AB CRA Ladies Campdraft leader and winner of multiple ladies drafts throughout 2018. Has won 15 cutouts in 2018, and her goal is to win the Lady Rider as she returned here to the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Wyatt Young with Cedar Vale Twist scored 21.5 for cutout, 63.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the cause, a total of 89 points. 89 points for Cedar Vale Twist, ridden by Wyatt Young, and unfortunately there things didn't go to plan there for Sue Dugen from Coolah, New South Wales. Rebecca Roberts, number 13 from Lochinvar, and comes up with a cutout score there of 21.5 points for Rebecca Roberts. 21.5 points.
Well, we've got Terry Hanigan heading next into camp. Durkin's Onyx, the horse, who brings 80 points from round 1. And Terry's one of the newer players, if you can say this, in the sport of camp draft. He only started camp drafting 6 years ago, but he has been riding all his life. It's his second year here competing at the camp draft at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. His major titles include being first at the ABCRA Maiden Horse Camp Draft in 2017. Did really well again in the Master Rider Aggregate last year.
So Terry Hanigan, Durgan's Onyx, steps out into the arena and he says, I'll just sit back here a little bit. And Durgan's Onyx says, yes, I'll just float along here. The heifer just floats around the first peg out on the stadium. Now, Terry Hanigan does the changeover. They get 2 out of 4 for the course. They line up the second peg. Can they do it now? Yes, he says, I'll just sit back here a little. Durgan's Onyx says, I think we better move around a little bit. He presses the buttons there, the reins. Oh, well, yes, all the crowd were riding with you, Terry, and they had the same feeling as you. We thought the beast was going to come around. And it comes around. He gets that second to go. Attempt at the second. There goes the whistle. Give him a nice round of applause there, Terry Hanigan and Durgan's Onyx.
Well, we welcome out now Brendan Fitzgerald, all the way from Roma in southwestern Queensland. He rides more rocks, and this is Brendan's second year attending the Sydney Royal Easter Show. He's been camp drafting since his 9-year-old stallion for the last 3 years for great success. Some of his achievements include the Upper Horton Maiden. He won the Tambo Novice and the Chinchilla Grandfather Clock Novice Draft, just to name a few.
So we have a score coming through for Terry Hanigan with Durkin's Onyx was 20 for cutout, 47.5 for horsework, 2 out of 4 for the course. A total of 69.5 points. 69.5 points there for Durkin's Onyx and Terry Hanigan. Around the first peg we go now with our final competitor in round 2, Brendan Fitzgerald from Roma, and 2 out of 4 for the course. And around the second peg, and things are looking pretty good as More Rocks tightens it right up. Around the second peg, they do the changeover. 3 out of 4 for the course. Can they do it? Can they do it? Can they do it? Oh, we're going to see it here very, very shortly. I think he can. He can. Brendan Fitzgerald from Roma with More Rocks.
Oh, Jimmy, what a way to finish night number 2 with a run like that for Brendan Fitzgerald. He'll certainly be knocking on the door. The score to beat is Wyatt Young's 89. Currently in second, we have Bruce Coulthard on an 88.5, with Tyler Berkeley currently sitting in third place on an 87. Yarrawa Guns N' Roses and Cody Law in fourth place, with Joseph Burgess and Avalon Illusion currently sitting in 5th place. Has he done enough to take himself into the leaderboard? He needs a score greater than 89 as we cross back down to Jimmy Callahan as he gets those fingers and toes out to add up that score. How are we looking?
Brendan Fitzgerald with more rocks scored 21 for cutout, 63 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 88 points. 88 points for more rocks and Brendan Fitzgerald.
Well, we'll get the official results shortly, but by my book, that puts him just 1 point off the leader and into third place. Hey, Jimmy, you must say that's been another top night. They were tough cattle. They were running hard and fast tonight, but the cream certainly rose to the top.
No better way to put it, Tim. Perfectly put. Another great line of cattle, and once again, many thanks to Elliston Pastoral Company, the Packer family, to the management up there, Rob Teague, Scott Mitchell and the team, and Murray Wilkerson. Wonderful lot of cattle for round 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft, brought to you with the compliments of Tyrrells.
And of course, we've got plenty more action of camp drafting to come over the coming days here, Jimmy, and I can't believe that I predicted that Wyatt Young would win tonight. I'm just really happy with that prediction that I made.
Well, we might do a form guide up and get you to do the form guide for us, Tim.
A great competition, and we'll wait for that official result to come through in a moment's time. But Jimmy, it's great to see all the competitors shaking hands there. It really is a great sport, the sport of camp drafting, Australia's own, and there really is, although when you step into the camp, it's you and your horse and that beast, but there really is a team mentality. Well, Jimmy, I think maybe down alongside one of our judges to have a look at what their thoughts are.
Okay, Tim, I'm just here with Keith Hanigan. Keith, round 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft. Welcome back 2019.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jim. It's good to be back at this amazing arena. The camp drafting is not going quite as well perhaps as last year, but it's early days yet. I think everyone's starting to settle into it and looking forward to the rest of the week.
Once again, another great line of cattle from Elliston Pastoral Company.
Oh, magnificent. And it's such a great thing to be able to get cattle from anywhere nowadays with drought conditions the way they are right across the state. To get cattle at all, but get magnificent cattle like we've got here is sensational.
The camp drafting's very, very strong, a great family sport. Keith, you've been at it a long time?
Oh, yes, certainly. And, we're seeing second and probably third generation of camp drafters here and others that haven't been in the game too long. So it's a great family sport. And it's a great tradition for the bush, and it's great to be able to bring the bush to the city.
Great to see you back here 2019, and all the best for the remaining rounds of the World Championship Camp Draft, Keith.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you to the committee here. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so that's one of our Camp Draft judges, and we'll catch up with Skip McCarthy probably tomorrow evening. But I'll just duck over here and catch up with our round 2 winner, Wyatt Young from Tamworth, and I know that Mum and Dad would be very proud of this young gentleman, Craig and Janelle. Well, Wyatt, no better way to kick off round 2. You kicked off round 1 in fine style. Well, this is a little bit better, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it certainly is, Jimmy. Just that one extra step always helps.
Been a great competition. The cattle helped make it. Once again, we spoke to Keith Hanigan about the line of cattle. That all makes the plan come together. Yeah,
that's it, Jimmy. We're very fortunate in these drought times that we can get cattle of these quality from Elliston, and thanks to the Packer family and everyone involved at Elliston for bringing them down.
The camp drafting is, in normal times, are very strong, and it's a great family sport. Good way to keep the whole family together, Wyatt.
Yeah, no, it is. I remember going there as a little kid, and then you start riding at 8-year-old, and then you look at like Johnny Stanton, who's 85 or 6 or something like that, and he's still competing.
Yes, and you look at those competitors, and no doubt you can look back in a few years ago when you were a junior and then a juvenile competitor, and some of those senior competitors, they help you along the track as well.
Oh, my... It's not going out. Oh, my word, those older competitors certainly help out. Even till today, people still help out from the side of the camp, and that's what makes it the great sport it is.
Okay, well, all the very best for the remaining 4 rounds, and no doubt tonight that you'll duck back over there and you'll be having a little bit of a celebration drink with Tyrrells.
Oh, no doubt, Jimmy, and congratulations to everyone else.
Okay, thank you, Wyatt, and that wraps up round 2 of the Tyrrells World Championship Camp Draft. They are the winner and place getters. Round 2, and that tomorrow afternoon, round 3 at 5:05 p.m. So back here to see round 3 of the World Championship Camp Draft, and we'll cross back up to Tim and Lindsay.
Oh, Thanks so much, Jim. We are having a great time watching our camp drafting here. Only 2 nights down and a lot ahead of us in the World Series camp draft at the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Well, as they come past, come on, girls and boys, put your hands together for our winner here tonight, Wyatt Young, Cedar Vale Twist. He and Bruce Coulthard are level pegged after the first 2 nights, each having a win, each having a second. And in fact, level pegged right down to the same score, and we look forward to watching the rest of the drafting unfolding, as we were saying, over the next couple of days.
We've got a huge afternoon here, Tim, for day 2 of the show. Our opening ceremony coming up in just a little while's time. And we'll also have our rodeo on tonight, which I'm very much looking forward to. The police musical ride.